Hey guys, hope everyone's going well. Afternoon live stream for you guys, or lunchtime for over here in Perth. Today we're going to be talking about why you shouldn't do what the pros are doing, okay? And going against what most racers are working towards, or the people that they're trying to learn from, okay, to try and be better. So we'll just wait a little bit for Facebook to do its thing, get a few people on the stream. But that's what we're going to be focusing on today, okay? Going against the grain, going against what other people are doing, and doing what you need to do to be able to be the best. So when we're looking at training, okay, what we need to be able to take note of is looking at what the pro guys are doing, okay? And obviously everyone wants to aspire to being where the pro guys are, okay, to being the best. They're all looking at what they're doing and trying to replicate what they're doing with their training, with their nutrition, dealing with arm pump, how they've got the bike set up, how they've got the suspension set up, who they take their motor to. Okay, you find out who they're using to train with, who they're who's helping them with their nutrition, who's helping them with their bike, who's their mechanic, who's the race shop that they go to be able to get their bikes. Okay, they're all that's what everyone's trying to track down and trying to trace. Okay, and the big thing to be able to remember with pro riders, okay, with guys that are getting paid to do this stuff for a living, is that they have an infinite amount of time compared to what you have available to be able to work on different things with their training, different things with their nutrition, different things with their flexibility compared to what you would. So when you're looking at your training, okay, let's just say you're training 3 times, let's just say you're training twice a week now. Okay, and you find out that the pro guys are training 5 times a week. Okay, and we're talking gym. Okay, so not talking on the bike. You're training twice a week, and you find out that the pro guys are training 5 times a week. Now, remembering that a pro racer, okay, so talking international level, okay, are getting paid to do this. So that's their job. So they have majority of each day, okay, apart from all their charity work and all the other photo shoots and things that they need to do. That majority of their time they can dedicate towards training and towards racing because that's their job. That's what they get paid for, right? So for them to be able to do 5 sessions a week, to be able to spend 3 hours a day training, they can do that, okay, because they have that time. Now, for most of the normal people that are racing, that are aspiring to be there, that want to do well with their racing but aren't at that level, aren't getting paid, you more than likely have a job, okay? Something that isn't riding. So you have something you do during the week that fills majority of your day, that fills majority of your time, okay? That's helping you to be able to build towards being successful, towards maybe getting a sponsored ride, getting paid to ride, or maybe you just want to do better. Maybe you don't want to get there, okay? And you just want to do better than what you are. So maybe with those hours that you have, so let's just say you have a full-time job, including travel, maybe you're working 10 hours. I know most of you are probably doing more than that, okay? 12 hours a day. Okay, including travel, coming backwards and forwards, by the time you leave home to the time you get home, okay? So what that means is that leaves you with very, very little time outside of those hours, okay? Hey, Luke. So what that means, Luke, is that, Luke and everyone else as well, sorry. What that means with our training is that we're only going to have a smaller amount of time, okay? To be able to focus towards our training, to be able to focus towards our nutrition, to be able to focus towards everything that we're working on. So we need to take that into account. Okay, so let me do the numbers here. I've got a pen and paper here, right? So we've got 24 hours in a day. Let's just say at most, because I know a lot of racers are FIFO, working construction, do longer hours. So let's say 12 hours. Okay, so 12 hours is taken up with work and travel. That leaves us with 12 hours left over, okay? Within that 12 hours that's left over, we then have to sleep for 8 hours. So it takes another 8 hours, which leaves us 4 hours left over. Okay, so that's 4 hours left over to be able to go and get the bike ready, actually go and ride, go and train, travel time to train, going and having dinner, getting our food ready for the next day. All those things in there are all things that we need to be able to focus on as well and do. Okay, so while you're spending that 8 hours, even let's just talk about the 8 hours, okay, at work, right? You're spending 8 hours at work working, putting food on the table, putting money in your bank account so that you can actually go and ride on the weekend. The other guys out there that are getting paid are using that 8 hours to go and train, to go and recover, to be able to put towards spending extra time with their food, Okay, spending extra time with flexibility, going and getting massages, doing cryotherapy, doing Pilates classes, okay, yoga classes, doing all this stuff. Now, that doesn't mean that the stuff that the pros do doesn't work. Obviously, it does work because it's helping them to get the results they're getting. And obviously, that's debatable. A lot of the stuff I talk about is debatable with the higher level riders, whether it's actually optimal or not. But what we do know is that the stuff that they're doing is obviously helping them, okay? Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it in the first place. So, what we need to look back now is go, okay, they have this 12 hours a day while I'm working and traveling. They have this 12 hours a day to be able to go and train, ride, get their bikes ready, do all that sort of stuff, okay? Get their gear ready. And that's important for them to be able to get them in optimal shape. Okay? Boom. First thing. Okay? Now, because we have less time, we need to make sure that with the time we do have, we're actually doing things within that time which is giving us the best possible result that we could be getting. So the best return on our investment of time for the amount of effort we're putting in. Okay, so if you see that, okay, let's just say you research Ken Roxon and you see an article that says, okay, Ken Roxon goes and does yoga 3 times a week. Okay, so he's just won the Pro Motocross Championship and he does yoga 3 times a week. So now you decide that you're going to go and do yoga 3 times a week. Now, Ken Roxon's doing his strength training, doing his cardio, got his nutrition nailed, got his bike sorted, has plenty of time to go and practice and add yoga in because he has that extra time to be able to get those little 1%ers to make himself better. The average person, the average racer doesn't have that. Okay, they don't have that extra time. So it's no good you going to yoga if that means that you're going to miss out on your training session for today, okay, just because you've heard Ken Roxon does yoga. It's no point in you weighing and measuring your food and going absolutely ballistic in terms of the types of things you eat, okay, when you don't have the amount of time to weigh and measure and do that over a long period of time to be able to get the results from it. Okay, and that applies to everything. There's all this new stuff that's always coming out that people are doing that's just differently, which is awesome. People at the top of the sport which are innovating, bringing new stuff to the sport, which is sweet. But the major problem is most of that stuff's not going to apply to you. Okay, most of the people watching this video are not going to be able to apply that information. And the reason they're not going to be able to apply that information is because you don't have the amount of time that they have. So you need to be able to maximize the amount of time you do have and use things within that time that are going to maximize the results that you're going to get. So in other words, if that means, okay, that Ryan Dungey trains in the gym 5 times a week, okay, that's probably going to mean, hey Christian, that's probably going to mean that you can't train 5 times a week, okay? That might mean that you can only train 3 times a week. Because then you've got to spend time on the bike as well. So maybe that means you can only train 3 times a week and then you have another 2 days of riding on the bike. Plus then you have to have another couple of days to make sure the bike's right, do air filters, do all the other stuff that goes with having a bike. Okay? So that's what you need to be able to take into account is being able to take into account that the time you're using, okay, needs to be using the most efficient things possible, the most efficient protocols possible to be able to get you to where you are. Always just copying what the pros are doing is not something that's going to get you results long term because the things that they're using, the things that might be a little bit different from what everyone else is using, they've already nailed the basics. They have everything else mapped out, ready to go. That's an additional thing that they're doing in conjunction with all the other stuff. So if you see, like, if we see that Eli Tomac starts doing Pilates classes, okay, then that doesn't mean that you should dump all your training sessions and start doing Pilates classes 5 times a week just because Eli Tomac's doing it. Eli Tomac's still doing all his other training. He's adding that in on top, okay? And that's an important thing to note because he's got that extra time. At the end of the day, he gets paid to do that, okay? That's what he does. So you can't be replicating what the pros are doing or trying to read up on them as much as you can. It's interesting to know. And yes, some of the information might be able to help, but majority of it is probably not going to help you because you're not a pro racer. You don't have that amount of time that they have to be able to dedicate towards getting all those little minor things to be able to tweak your performance. So you need to be able to have set times for everything. So you need to be able to put things towards being able to map out your training sessions each week, okay? So the important things for you are going to be preparing your food, making sure you're eating the right food. Number 2, training consistently in the gym and making sure that you are doing the right training within that training, okay? That's something we talk about a lot here. And then the next thing to be able to look at is being able to make sure that you're getting bike time and consistent bike time. And then once you have those 2 things nailed, then we need to work on consistency. nailing them every single week. And then from there, you're able to move on, okay, and start to refine things a little bit more and tweak things to make them more efficient. So Luke's asked, what should I do to train? Luke, you're obviously new to watching the live streams. If you go back on my page, there's a shit ton of information on what you should be doing for training, which will keep you busy for days. I reckon there's about days worth of videos on there. So I'm not going to go into in this live stream, but if you flick back through the page, you're going to find a shit ton of info in there. So if you have a look through there, that will help you out a great deal, Luke. So with our training, we want to make sure that we have our consistent days. We want to make sure we have everything mapped out. We want to make sure we're using that's how you're going to get the edge on everyone else, okay? That's how you're going to get the edge on all the other people or all the other races out there, is by just using your time better than what everyone else is doing. Like, everyone has the same 24 hours, okay? Everyone has the same amount of days in the week, so not having enough time is the biggest bullshit excuse in the world. Everyone has the same 24 hours. I've got the same 24 hours you guys have got. You guys have got the same 24 hours that Ryan Dungey has, that Ken Roxon has, that all these other guys have. Yes, yours is made up of more work, but that doesn't mean you can't be more efficient with the time you do have, okay? So it's all about being able to maximize. Imagine if you maximized your nutrition. So breakfast, lunch, dinner, all your snacks. Imagine if you maximize that and you did that 10 times better than what you are now. Imagine if you had a routine which was 10 times better. Hey, Eddie. Imagine if you had a routine which was 10 times better than before racing, after racing, than what you've had before. What if you had a routine that was 10 times better before racing and after racing on training days? Okay. What if you had a training program which was 10 times better than what you're currently doing now? Okay. What if you had a stretching and mobility program that was 10 times better than what you're doing now? What if you had technique within your squatting which was 10 times better than it is right now? What if you had mobility and movement efficiency, which was 10 times better with your deadlift, okay, than where it is at now, okay? We can always make things better with the same. It's not always about adding volume or adding more stuff. If you guys are finding this useful, give me a thumbs up, give me a like, and make sure let me know you're finding it useful. There's a little bit more to go through. So what we want to be able to work on is being able to make sure that we're maximizing our time. Okay, we're optimizing our time. We want to make sure that all the effort we're putting in is actually worth all that effort. Okay, it's worth all the time. And we want to make sure that we're maximizing, because again, we all have the same amount of time. Okay, like we just did with that plan there, 24 hours in a day, 12 hours of work, 8 hours of sleeping leaves you with 4 hours left over. What are you doing with those extra 4 hours? Okay, what are you doing? Some of you will be watching TV. Some of you will be going home, cleaning the house, and doing other duties, okay? Where can you optimize and maximize your time to shuffle things around, to make things more efficient, to make them better? We don't always have to do more, okay? Often with your training, a lot of the races we actually do less training than what they were doing previously. It's just a shit ton better. That's how we get the results we do. Just from doing stuff a lot better, not from doing more of it, okay? More of it's not always going to be better. Yes, there are benefits we can get from adding more stuff. That's something that should come at the end. Once you've actually nailed the process and nailed exactly what you need to do in the meantime with the lower volume, okay? So optimization is something that a lot of racers need to look at. Optimizing, what are you doing? What can you do better, okay? How can you set the bike up better? How can you have better suspension, a better motor? How can you prepare better on race day? How can you eat better? How can you train better? Okay, all these areas. Imagine if you made them all 10 times. Imagine if you're at the least. Imagine if you only made them twice as good. Okay, twice as good. So you made your training twice as good, you got twice as good results. You made your nutrition twice as good, so you had twice as more energy. You made your bike twice as good by fiddling, spending more time testing the suspension, testing the motor, putting it on the dyno, I don't know, whatever else you want to do. Just from doing this stuff. Imagine how much better you would be just from making that stuff twice as good, okay? It's going to be a big multiplying effect, a big compounding effect, because you're going to have one thing which gets better, which means obviously, so look at this as a compounding effect. Let's just say we just tweak your nutrition. We just should make your nutrition twice as good so you got twice as much energy. What does that mean? When we spike your energy, that means you're going to train a lot harder. What happens when you train a lot harder? You get a lot better results from training. What happens when you get a lot better results from training? You're fitter and stronger out on the bike. What happens when you're fitter and stronger out on the bike? You start to ride better. You get better results. You can increase the intensity. You can ride faster. You can ride longer. All that just from changing nutrition. Now imagine if we did that with everything. So look at that multiplier effect. We've changed like five to six different things in our lives, in our performance, just from changing that one thing. Now, what happens when we move to another area, moving on to changing something else? So let's go, okay, I've improved my energy now. What if I look at actually being able to improve my strength training? What if I get a better program? What if instead of just dragging any program off the internet that's not even related to helping me with my racing, what if it's a program that's specifically designed to be able to help me on race day? Then when we do that, then that's when the magic starts to happen, because now we've got our increased energy going up. Plus we've got our better strength training, which is going to be getting better results. So now when we're rocking up at training, we've got more energy, plus we have a better program that's getting us better results. So we're not just improving by 50%, we're improving by like 150% now, just from that one thing, which then multiplies onto everything else, onto how we feel, how we operate during the day, how we rock up to the track, the results we get from the track. And then if we do that with everything will just start to skyrocket exponentially, because we've started to work on all those different areas, okay? We've started to break down our training, break down our performance into little segments, which has helped us over the long term, okay? And that's important to be able to do. We want to make sure that every little component of your training is maximized. We maximize your flexibility, maximize your conditioning, maximize your strength, maximize your movement within those strength movements, maximize your movement within conditioning, maximize how you're tackling and approaching the mobility and flexibility exercises. Going through your nutrition. What can we change in your nutrition, make it better? What's holding you back? Where can we improve it? Okay. Always being on the hunt, looking for that extra 10%, extra 1%, whatever it is, because that's going to have that compound effect, that multiplying effect with your training, with your racing, and be able to get you a shit ton better results than what you're getting now. Okay. So being able to really step things up. So have that's some stuff to think about. So think about put in the comments below. Hold yourself accountable. What are the 3 areas you believe that you can improve on over the next week that are going to help you to be able to improve your performance, okay? That are going to help get that compound effect going. So 3 things. So comment with 3 things that you want to work on. So maybe that's nutrition. Maybe there's a specific area with nutrition. Maybe you don't prepare your food. Maybe you don't eat the right stuff. Maybe you don't eat the right stuff before race day. Maybe that's getting someone to help you or doing a little bit more reading on the stuff that you do need to be having because you're not sure. Maybe that means flicking through my YouTube channel or my Facebook page and watching every single video, hours and hours and hours of content on there to be able to find those areas. So I want you guys to comment 3 areas that you feel are holding you back right now, that you need to change, and that you need to that are holding you back at the moment. So get them below, and I'll come back and have a look at the comments and see what you guys have to say. So all the best, guys. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and remember, train hard, race harder. See you guys.